Nobody is safe from the consequences of talking about UFOs, not even former or soon-to-be new president in the form of Donald Trump. This is exactly what Ross Coulthart was talking about. So I covered most of Ross Coulthart's interview in yesterday's video, but this part I left out, but now I really feel like it's actually really relevant. Obviously, in yesterday's video, if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. We spoke about Dead Man's Trigger. And actually people corrected me. I said it was Bob Lazar that spoke about it, but actually it was Dr. Stephen Greer. And for anyone that isn't aware of what Dead Man's Trigger is, basically what it means is the people that have their lives potentially threatened, based off of the knowledge of what they have and being sworn into these programs, it means that if they were to speak about it, their lives could potentially be at risk, or even that of their families. So what they do is they make themselves untouchable, and what they do to do that is they do something called Dead Man's Trigger, which means if they were to be taken out from unforeseen circumstances, let's say, everything that they have, all the knowledge is already published to a website, and somebody, nobody knows who, on their death, on the moment of their death, would publish that across multiple platforms across the internet, which would then spread like wildfire to the point where it would be uncontrollable for the people that didn't want the information out there. Alright, so but to come back to kind of today's point, Donald Trump is afraid he will be assassinated if he reveals what he knows about UFOs and aliens. Ross Coulthart said, quote, "I know, for example, Trump's been briefed. He's scared they're going to kill him if he reveals what he knows." Now, being briefed is kind of it's referred to as being briefed into the program. So that basically means that once you're in it, it's like, I don't know, the Freemasons, for example. Once you're in it, you don't talk about it. And you know other people who are in the program, and they're the only people that you talk to about it. Nobody else. So we're going to take a little look at what Ross Coulthart said, and then look at some other points as well that have been raised.
When I know, for example, Trump's been briefed, you know what's going on? He's scared. He's scared they're going to kill him if he reveals what he knows. That's what I've been told. You have a situation where your potential president is terrified of speaking about the UAP issue.
It's crazy.
Because he's scared they're going to knock him. I'm not kidding you. I'm not making this up. This is serious. You know, you have a national scandal at the heart of this. It's not just about UFOs, it's about your country. It's totally screwed unless you resolve this issue. It should be the dominant political issue. If you can get this secret out, the world will change overnight.
Wow.
And I've heard that from people in the program. They're deeply angry that this secret is being suppressed. They see no good reason. One of the reasons it's being suppressed is because America has made weapons, dreadful weapons. Are you proud of that? Is that really what we want to do from technology that we've obtained by using offensive weaponry against a fairly benevolent, non-human intelligence? Is that really how we want to define our first contact? Because that's what we're talking about here. And I don't know how to communicate this more seriously.
Now, this is such a weird topic because, like, you know, we've got, let's say, for example, this is right, this is correct. And they don't want this released because there's weapons of literal mass destruction that have been produced off the back of these, let's call them reverse engineer programs or, you know, whatever. But why is that the first thing that we do? We have this technology. We have a craft come from millions of light years away, let's say, right? From a habitable planet. Why are we using that technology to create weapons of mass destruction? Why not use it to better our technology? You know, not from a weaponry standpoint, but like, we could push ourselves forwards 50 years in a year. We could push ourselves forward 100, 1,000 years in a year, you know? Like, we could literally advance human civilization to a whole new era. But instead, because we're human and because we're primal, you know, there's no beating around the bush with that. Because we're primal, we decided, I'm gonna make some weapons. No, you just don't do it, man. That's stupid. We could literally have craft that can take us to other planets. Like, this planet's butchered. This is destroyed. As a human race, we have destroyed this planet. But we've got an opportunity to go and find another planet. To go and, you know, take the knowledge that we have from this one, where we completely butchered it, and go over to another planet and be like, let's not do those mistakes again. You know, let's be peaceful, let's be civil, let's not battle over territories. Let's, you know, here's your places, you know, scatter it out like you have got the continents and the countries, and like we have now, and just go, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours. We're not going to fight over it, all right? There will, of course, that's an ideal world. That's never going to be the case, but that should be how it goes. I don't understand why we're just so stupid as a race. But anyway, I go off on a tangent. There was another thing that I wanted to talk to you about as well, which came from News Nation. So this is a top secret UFO research which grips Washington. Here's what they're saying. All right, and then in the description they state UFOs are taking up a lot of space in the political arena, with a group of senators recently alleging the existence of a long-standing program that retrieves and reverse engineers non-human technology. Here's what they're saying. All right, and we're going to dive into this, add some comments, and then finish on a little Donald Trump interview.
Could the U.S. government really be concealing a top-secret UFO program? Several senators say the answer is yes. Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is spearheading legislation to establish a government-wide UAP records collection. Federal agencies now have to reveal everything they know about UAPs by October 20th.
Now, this is going to be so fascinating to see where things stand, because but at the same time, yes, they have to reveal everything, but are they going to? Like, let's not forget that Arrow did their report on the Eglin UFO case. All right, if you haven't seen that, I've made some videos about it. Go back on the channel and check that out. But they made a report about the Eglin UFO, and they said it was a lighter-than-air balloon, right? So just a helium balloon, basically. And they put in photographs of it and claimed that the video technology on the fighter jet broke. So it wasn't in working condition, so they didn't have video footage. But Matt Gaetz put in a Freedom of Information request, and he got documents back stating that they did have video footage that for classified reasons it wasn't allowed to be published. So they lied. And if it was that easy to do that, what's to say that on October 20th they just go, here's what we want you to see, and probably produce nothing, and then just vault up the stuff that should actually be revealed. I'm really skeptical that this is going to be the case and that they are going to follow through with this, but we'll have to wait until October 20th.
Information about UAPs over many decades, but has refused to share it with the American people. He says that is wrong and additionally breeds mistrust. And then there is Senator Mike Rounds, a Republican from South Dakota who led the measure with Schumer. He said the proposed legislation is modeled after the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Act.
Wow.
Another Republican Senator, Marco Rubio, told News Nation the latest string of UAP whistleblower claims should be taken seriously.
I find most of these people at some point, or maybe even currently, have held very high clearances and high positions within our government. So you do ask yourself, like, what incentive would so many people with that kind of qualification, these are serious people, have to come forward and make something up?
Yet the Pentagon has repeatedly denied that such a program is even real.
No verifiable evidence that any UAP sighting represented extraterrestrial activity, that the U.S. government or private industry has ever had access to extraterrestrial technology, or that any information was illegally or inappropriately withheld from Congress.
Now, this is what the issue is, right? People from the Pentagon are able to come out and say, you know, there is no such thing as UAPs. We've got no evidence of them. And no one can refute it. No one can say, well, there is. Nobody can, because they'll just go, prove it, when they're sat on the documents, and I'll be like, well, I can't prove it, and they're like, well, exactly, so it's not real, is it? It's such a tricky place to be in right now, because the people who know things, like, let's say, Ross Coulthart, he's spoken to many people, but he hasn't got the document proof, which would just blow the lid off of this. I mean, it's such a difficult place to be, and until that information's brought forward, there's nothing we can do, because, nobody's going to hack the Pentagon, or be able to, without, literally facing federal crime charges, and to reveal the documents, and it's difficult.
NASA has also released its own investigation, stating that at this point, there is no reason to conclude that existing UAP reports have an extraterrestrial source. Despite the Pentagon and NASA's findings, Schumer is expected to once again introduce legislation to further look into UAP programs in the coming months.
Like I say, I'm dubious that anything will come of those programs, unfortunately, because, it doesn't mean anything. You can say to these powerful people, give me everything you've got. And, say, by law, you have to give me everything. That doesn't matter, because the Pentagon has proven time and time again that they are willing to break the law for the sake of covering this stuff up. And they don't care. They really, really do not care. Oh, here's that clip about the dead man's trigger from Stephen Greer, by the way. So this will provide a little bit of context to anyone that isn't kind of in the know about that. This was from Dr. Stephen Greer.
I have what's called a dead man trigger, which means something happens to me. There's information I'm holding that will hit the internet, and it'd be the end of this group. I'm actually better off alive than dead for them, because being alive, they can just marginalize me, defame me, call me names, blacklist me from media. How do you figure we have a free market economy if the most important technologies and scientific discoveries of the last 100 years have been kept off the market ruthlessly? Some inventor invents some really cool energy generation device, and they're offered, here's $20 million by a corporate entity. The corporation buys it, puts it on a shelf, they've gotten rights to it, and it's never released. But that happens all the time with these technologies. You'll see all the different strategies that have been used over the last 100 years to hoover up, like a vacuum cleaner, all these science and technology. Given that level of corruption, how can anyone claim that we have a truly free market economy if we're all slaves to oil?
He makes really fair points there, and talking about the whole thing, it's just crazy to think that, I don't know, man, it's just, the whole situation's messed up to the point where we literally have to have people who are willing to come forward, have this information locked away, in fear of their lives being taken, and if their life is taken, then it will just be published. So therefore, they've literally, blackmailed the government. What on earth? Anyway, so, where is it? There's a clip from Donald Trump on Skyfire News. Here it is. So he talks about the Roswell incident and trying to basically declassify it should he come into power. But he does allude to knowing more than he lets on.
Know what's going on. Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
I know, it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question I want to know.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So you're saying you may declassify?
Oh.
You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that one, right?
So, there it is. The proof's in the pudding. He clearly knows something, because he alluded to it, and he had to look over to his 2IC to be like, did I do good? Have I said the right thing? But there was another clip as well that I've seen where he speaks about if he gets into power, which it could be likely based off of the recent turn of events that's gone over the past few days. He said that he'll declassify 9/11 files, JFK files, and also Epstein files if re-elected. And there's a question of, could Roswell be next?
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you?
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General.
Would you?
There you go. So you heard it from the horse's mouth. I mean, it's at this point, obviously, politicians say anything to get themselves into power. They make promises that they never keep. You know, this could just be mouth music from Donald Trump trying to appease those kind of people that want to know about what went on to get into power. And then when he gets into power, obviously, I think, is it the law in America? You can only serve 2 terms and then you have to hand the baton over to someone else. Is that right? I think that was the same for Barack Obama, right? So this would be obviously Donald Trump's 2nd term, which, I mean, after this, it'll be out the door. So what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new. And tick on my little bell so you get notified of whenever we upload to the channel. But until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. And I cannot wait to see you in the next one. And I'll speak to you later. Peace.